Hey everyone, I'm Cara Bradley, and I'm here to talk to you this evening about living in high definition. Living in high definition with all of your senses as a way to experience life fully. And so I sit back and relax because we can't really learn this stuff in our heads. We can sense it in our bodies. And I'm going to ask you all, what does it feel like to be fully alive? What are times in your lives, maybe it's during the day or in the evening or once a year, when you just feel like, wow, this is awesome. I feel so awake. I feel so alive. My senses are buzzing. I can see so clearly. The food tastes better. My body, my skin, my hearing, everything is just like online. Think about it for a moment because it's happening all the time. So often, though, we're not paying attention to it. So, what makes you feel awake and fully alive? I'll give you some hints. Oftentimes, I hear when I ask this question, it's sunsets, water, mountains, the sky, trees, the forest, snow, wine, great food, great company, being with a dog or a pet, being with kids, being with your partner, being alone, being in silence, dancing to music, singing. There's so many times throughout the day that we have these moments that I like to say are high definition moments. They're like moments when you feel like life is in technicolor. And I talk about it in my book, On the Verge. The whole cover is about being in high definition, just the vibrant colors of the book. And so tonight, just for a little bit, we're going to talk about what it means and how we can continue to glimpse this sense of being in high definition in our lives and how we can start to sustain those high definition moments. I mean, ultimately, really, we're all in this game to feel alive. We all just want to feel like we are relevant, that our lives matter, and that this moment is is potent with energy and with possibility. So let's talk for a moment about direct experience and experience in general. And I talk about this in my book. There's three types of experiences that I note. Now, I'm sure that, there's scientists out there and experts that can say there are more, and that's fine, but I like to keep things simple. Three experiences let's talk about. The first and the easiest one to understand is a second-hand experience. A second-hand experience is like me telling you, I took the greatest HIIT class today, fitness class. It was so great. I was sweating, the music was great, and there were people in the room that were really funny, and we all laughed at ourselves, and my body was buzzing, and I felt really good afterward. That would be really good. You're listening to me talk about my HIIT class, and you're like, all right, that sounds good. Maybe I'll try one. But you will never know what that class is like until you go in and take it yourself. And you may have a different experience. But secondhand experience is happening all the time. Somebody tells you about the great burger they ate, or let's just talk about advertising for a moment in Madison Avenue. I mean, Madison Avenue is talking about secondhand experiences or telling us what they think we should do or experience all the time. So that's easy. Put that to the side. Secondhand experience, somebody else telling you about their experience. Then there are muted or foggy or dull experiences. Let's spend a little time here. So, a muted experience is, let's say you're watching the sunset, but the sunset is so beautiful, it almost overwhelms you because it reminds you of when you were a child and you used to watch sunsets and you were with your father and your father's no longer with you, or all of a sudden now you're getting into stories about what's happening as opposed to just being with what's happening. We mute or dull experiences all the time, right? Just sitting in front of the TV, a lot of times in front of the computer, if you're watching or scrolling social media, it's kind of just a dulled, foggy, you're sort of here, you're sort of not experience, right? Or how about the times, and it happens so often, that you're driving home from work or driving to work or somewhere else, and you arrive to wherever you're going, and you're like, I really don't remember getting here. I was driving, but I was elsewhere, right? How many of us spend so much of our lives elsewhere, not here? And so we dull our experiences, we mute our life's experience because we're stuck in what I call our busy mind. We're thinking, thinking, thinking. We see something beautiful, but we've got to throw a story around it. We can't just sit with the experience and sense it fully. The times that we feel most fully alive are the times when our mind has settled to the point where we are fully engaged in our body. So think about it. If you're a skier, right? You're skiing down the mountain. You're not thinking about work. You're thinking about each little turn, right? Or if you're hiking in the woods or you're doing something, oftentimes it's something that's a little more extreme or challenging that gets us out of our head, right? So we call this the flow state. When we're in a situation that's a little bit challenging, a little bit more than we can handle, like say it's that, headstand in yoga class, or you're in front of a room and you're giving a speech and you're just, you just have to give it, or it's an emergency situation and you don't even think about anything, you just act, right? These are moments when we're down out of the busy mind, we're down out of all the thinking and the patterns and the conditioning, and we're right in our bodies in this moment. This is called a direct experience. You are directly experiencing that ice cream cone, right? You are directly experiencing that beautiful sunset, or the smell of the ocean, or the gorgeous night sky, the burger. You're directly in it, and all of your senses are online. You're smelling, hearing, tasting, touching, feeling, and thoughts may still be coming. You may think, wow, this is so good. That's okay. In many traditions, especially in the meditation world, our thinking capacity is thought of as our sixth sense. Thinking is not a bad thing. It's when we think and spiral out of the moment. That's when we lose our direct experience. So what does this have to do with high definition? Well, everything. When we're present, when we're right here in this moment, right now, having a full out direct experience of whatever's happening, we feel more alive. Our senses come online, and we have this high definition experience. So I write about it in my book that the direct experiences happen when we're present. Doesn't mean it's always blissed out, we're always blissed out, or it's always perfect, because we can have this full out high definition HD Technicolor experience when things are heightened, when there is danger, when there's something, that's going on. Think about it when you've lost a loved one. I remember when I was called, my mom called me after my grandmother passed, and I was far away, but I just remember everything about that moment. Time stands still. You remember, the time of the year, maybe the smell in the room, what you were eating or wearing, or how your body felt, right? It's just like, some songs. We could hear songs and immediately it triggers response. So these extreme moments aren't extreme. We think of them as being these, very unfamiliar, very random experiences. But here's the great news. We can live in high definition all the time. We can feel that awake and alive, like you're at the ocean, like you're at the top of the mountain all the time. Sometimes it happens spontaneously, but you're going to start to notice all day long these moments of high definition. It could be as simple as driving your car and being at the stop sign or the stoplight and looking up and just catching the rays of the sun on your face, right? Or meeting someone's gaze in the coffee shop, a stranger, and you just have this prolonged kind of hold. There are these glimpses, I call them glimpses of high definition moments. Start to notice them. Start to recognize these moments, these pauses, these split seconds in between your busy life that are reminding you constantly, you are awake, you are alive, you are in this body in this moment, and don't miss it. Speeding across. Okay, I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm looking out my window at my beautiful backyard, and there's this gorgeous doe that's just strolling across. This is what happens. Like, how gorgeous is that? How peaceful. And so when you start to recognize these glimpses of high definition moments, and they're really just moments when we're awake to what's happening, you will start noticing them more and more. It's sort of like when you decide to buy a certain make car, right? I'm going to buy a Honda. My daughter just recently bought a Honda. What'd she buy? A Civic. And she said, I can't believe it. There's Honda Civics everywhere. I never realized it. This is what starts to happen in our consciousness. We start to become aware of what it feels like to be vibrant, vibrantly engaged in the moment. It doesn't mean you always have to be positive, right? But you're vibrantly engaged, fully engaged in the moment. And this is when our senses are lit up. So I ask in the book to explain, to put some words to your high definition moments. And I call these snapshots. Some of the words, and I've done a lot of polling with friends and students, some of the words that people have described their high definition moments to be are it's really simple. So let me read them. High definition experience: clear, bright, awake, alert, brilliant, sharp, open, light, alive, ready, aware, and vibrant. What are your high definition moments like? You don't even need to put words to them. So that's your homework, everyone. If I can give you homework, is start to notice glimpses of living in high definition. It could be your first cup of coffee in the morning. It could be that delicious lunch you prepared and the pause that you take before you take your first bite. Right? It could be presenting at a meeting when you're so excited because you know you did the work. These moments, they're all throughout our days. We just get so focused on the busyness that we miss the gems. Living in high definition is a gem. It brings purpose and relevance to our lives. We start to recall and remember why we're here, to experience and express this gift of being alive, this grace, this life force that's moving through us. So notice, glimpse, recognize. And when you do, you're going to start to see it more and more. You're going to start to feel that high definition experience, that direct experience move through you. Next time we'll talk about high voltage energy. And boy, is that great. It's what happens when you're experiencing a high definition moment, is this like whoosh of energy that comes through you. And it's very potent energy. There's a lot we can do with that. So we will talk about that next time. Thanks so much for joining me.